Hey everyone, we have Xavier, another typology interview. How's it going, man?
Good. Xavier.
Xavier. All right. What's the what language is it in? That way of pronouncing it.
It's French. So I was named
Okay.
after my grandfather who was from Belgium.
Right.
So that's why.
Okay. And you okay, that's interesting. People okay, well I'll talk about that later. People with TI usually don't really care how you pronounce their name, and you care. I don't mind people calling me Benjamin because that's like the English pronunciation of my name.
Oh, wow.
But like for you, it's like you're sticking to the French pronunciation, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what my parents named me. So I want to be called by
Right.
that.
Yeah. Good for you. Um, do you speak French then?
Je parle un peu le français. I took one
Good.
semester in
Yeah.
college. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So I already know your type. I tried typing you before the interview, before you got actually typed, and I got
Yes.
your animals right, but I got your functions completely wrong. I saw you as lead FE. So maybe we'll start with your how you got into typology, and then dive into why your TE seems a little bit like FE, and maybe you have something that Dave said about that as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how I got into typology, well, I took psychology in high school, actually. It was an elective, and it was really fun. I took psychology and sociology that year. And in psychology, our teacher talked about Myers-Briggs, and she only talked about 4 coins, like thinking,
Right.
feeling, intuition, sensing, like those, like perceiving,
Judging,
judging.
perceiving. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different. But she explained what each coin meant, and she's like, which do you think you are? So then we had to type ourselves. It wasn't like a quiz or anything. We had to like
Right.
self-reflect. And then we had an assignment where we had like to make the shoebox, and inside the shoebox we had to put a letter for each wall of the shoebox, and then we had to like make a mural, not mural, like when you cut out collage inside the shoebox of our type.
This
And
sounds
I
like a really any type of teacher, like an ENFP or something. Yeah.
yeah, maybe. She was really cool. That'd be funny if she was watching this. But I believe I typed myself as an INFP. So because
Okay.
I was really introverted in high school, I didn't really talk to people. I just stayed by myself because I was really like shy and insecure, and I was really imaginative, or I am. So INFP made sense to me.
Yeah. Um. So from there, you continued with MBTI, or you forgot about it, or
Oh, yeah, I'll keep going. So from there, it was just something I knew about. And I did take some quizzes online, but they always differed depending on when I took it. So I would be INFP or ENFP usually. And it's interesting because I always thought I was an introvert, but then some of my
right?
friends would be like, no, you're an extrovert.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like an introvert. Uh, but yeah, and then I also took the DISC assessment at work. It's really expensive, but my work paid for it.
Right.
And I think it's like $300 or something.
Yeah, they're raking it in, eh?
And in that, I'm a S. So I don't know if you know about that.
No clue. Sorry, man. Yeah.
So S's are like, it's basically like Mr. Rogers type or Charlie Brown. So like they care about people.
Mm.
They like helping people.
Yeah. Interesting enough, Mr. Rogers was typed as a lead TI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the fact that he really cares about people is a hero's journey type thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because is it all FE he's using
Yeah,
basically?
yeah. And Dave and Shen have him as one of like the only alphas. Like they have a list of alphas, and he's like one of them for some reason. For me, he was always like too nice. It was like, don't get into a car with him if he offers candy to you. But
Oh my goodness. That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I always loved Mr. Rogers as a kid. He was great. I love
yeah,
that. I love that learning for children's television. That should be the
yeah.
same.
I guess Well, we're off on a tangent, but this is what Any does in TE too. But yeah, like his whole message was teaching kids about feelings.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
his whole
'cause
message. Yeah,
yeah, like maybe I had trouble with feelings, so this is how
right.
I learned, and this is what I'm showing you. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, so we got from your history and typology all the way to Mr. Rogers, and he just amazes me every time.
What? I guess so. That's funny.
All right, so disc, and then how did you get to OP?
Oh, from Dave Superpowers' YouTube channel, I think. Well, I first I did
Okay,
CSJ, and I was watching his
right.
videos, and then learning about the functions, and then typing that into YouTube. And then Dave had a
Nice.
lot of videos on, but his was more like, so CS Josephs are very complicated with the functions and what they all mean, but then Dave made it very simplistic, like
Yeah.
it's just organizing versus gathering.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. It was very catchy, and so it lured me in.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, so then why does your TE seem like an FE? Did Dave have something on that in your audio?
Yeah. So, well, Shan, she saw what I was doing, what people might think is FE, like caring about the tribe. Like I work in a children's hospital, so I like told the story about working with the kids and trying to make them feel good and feel comfortable and like be be happy and not scared, like if you're doing like
Yeah.
an EKG on them, it could be kind of scary, but like you could like make jokes or like just make them smile. If you're smiling, then they might be happier. So it's, I guess maybe that seems like FE, but then Shan, she's like, she called it FI. I don't know why. And then Dave, he's like, yeah, it's yeah, you're still TE though, because he's like, people like TE, FE, they both care about the tribe, and 90% TE and FE are alike. It's just I have more reasons. Like I talked about a lot of reasons in my video of why I became studying to become a nurse.
Right.
So
So they caught, but that's how they caught you, I guess. That's how they caught your TE, but like there's cognition going on. So is it actually TE? Like how are you really responsible to get things to work?
yeah, because maybe like me trying to make the kids feel better, the reason is I want it to work. Like I want them to not be scared, because then they're not going to be able to do the EKG because they're going to be pulling the leads off. And but if they're happy, then everything works. So
Right.
that's TE.
Maybe we can talk about it in a context that's not with children and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any example of maybe being responsible to get things to work?
Responsible to get things to work. So like if I'm in a group, like a group project, yeah, like if I'm in a group project in school, I want to make sure that like we're all meeting. Like I'm like, when are we meeting? Trying to make sure everyone can be there. Someone's like, well, I can't be there, and then like trying to make it work. It's like, well, why can't you be there? Oh, because I don't have a ride. It's like, well, maybe we can work out someone to give you a ride, or
Right.
maybe we could do it remote. Maybe we could do a video meeting. Like, and I don't know, like that stuff is pretty easy for me.
So what you just did there is like throwing out ideas like this to see what would
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, see what sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. So why was that funny? Because it's true? Because that's like what you do a lot?
I don't know. I don't really think about it. So it's just funny.
Okay.
Like, is that what I do? I guess so.
What about like solving problems and stuff? Do you like to talk with other people to solve the problems? Is that something that like, do you like to get advice? Do you like to poll people to figure things out?
Okay, like if there's problem, I don't know. I guess it depends. personal problems, I'll only go to like select people maybe to talk about it, like friends.
Uh-huh.
But if it's
Oh,
like
'cause
problems in
FI is personal, I guess.
if it's problems in the general sphere, like I'm out in public and I come across a problem, I really like trying to solve the problem, but I'm willing to work with people too. Actually, I really like teamwork. So if at work, like I like the idea of working on a team, and like I'll do this and you do this,
Hmm.
and like maybe each person is better at something, and I love that idea that everyone brings some skill or something to the table. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. That's good. What about figuring stuff out together? Like when everyone brings something to the table, do you enjoy because you're play first and you're TE, so like that's all about the ping back. That's all about, do you see that happen?
Do I see ping back when I'm working with people?
Yeah.
Uh,
Just like, do you see the thinking together, the group thinking?
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I
No
love
is an acceptable
hearing
answer, man. Yeah.
I love
Sorry.
hearing how people I love hearing how people think, and I'm always asking what they think, and like I love hearing other people's ideas and like their different perspectives, and I don't know, like yeah, I find it fascinating. And when I'm not sure about making a decision, like because someone asked me like
Yeah.
which floor do you want to work in when you graduate, and I'm like ooh, like I don't know, and then they throw out some ideas, and like I love that. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, this is what I did, and I worked on this floor and this floor, and this is what was good about this floor, and this is what I liked about this one. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that's great, because I take that in, and like maybe I might not decide based on that one thing they said, but I kind of like mesh it all together with different ideas and figure it out that way.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting about your example is you were outsourcing FI in a way. You weren't really outsourcing the logic. You were saying this guy likes that floor for these reasons, and this guy likes that, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, like I guess if it makes them happy, then well, I know doesn't necessarily make me happy, but like it gives me a general sense. Like if they're like, I hated it for these reasons, then at least I'll know that, and then maybe I might not do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just typing. So just for people's reference, you're double feminine with sleep last, play, consume, blast, right?
Double feminine, sleep blast, play, consume, blast. Yes.
Yep. Okay, so what about TE in terms of seeing, I don't know, the spectrum of ideas, getting things done now, needing to, I don't know, solving problems here and now, and not thinking about other types of things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Like I don't know. Like I used to do customer service, and people would call and they would be like with issues, and I'd be like, well, what's the problem? And then they'd say, and I'm like, well, here's some solutions. And like I really
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Any job I have, I love problem solving. I guess that's my superpower, is I love to like figure out solutions.
Right. Well, because like I guess the TE is pumping out ideas and the NE pumps out ideas, and you got them both working together. So I guess
Yeah.
you'd be like a really good brainstorming partner or something. Have you seen that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I like to brainstorm. Yeah. I also like to use the I Ching. So it's like fortune telling, like ancient Chinese fortune telling. So I would use that, and it gives me a lot of ideas too when I want to. I ask it a question, and then it gives a kind of like a page in a book, and then you read that page or chapter, and then it gives you ideas of what to look at.
That's interesting.
But it's like It's like really accurate. So for example, say you were asking like, should I remodel my house? And then the I Ching would be like, no, now would not be a good time. There's cracks in the foundation. And then, so it's like, it's kind of interesting metaphor because you're asking about a house. And then you look in the basement and there's cracks in the basement and it's leaking. And then you have to like go, it's like really eerily specific. And it's, it's kind of cool.
Okay. So it's like, should I marry this partner? Not a good time. Cracks in the foundation. That would also work, right?
Yeah, you can look at it both literally or symbolically. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool in that way, for sure. But like, if should I marry this person? It might be like it would be a chapter about a bride, and she marries a man, and she was lying to him, and then he doesn't find out that she's lying until after, and then it's too late. So like that page might come up.
Right. But that page might also come up for the house.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe like for the house, it's like there's neighbor causing problem, and like the neighbor symbolizes the wife that's like trying to get in or something like that. You know, I don't know. I've been doing it for 9 years now, so I've gotten a lot better, and I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about what you love and stuff like that. So like that FI at the bottom there. Are you aware of your priorities? What's important to you in life? Things like this. I think I asked this to you when I was trying to type you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I'm taking one of those tests online of who you are, I'm pretty good at answering like what my values are and what I used to use the word resonate a lot when I used to think I was an INFP, like, oh, that resonates with me. I think I'm that type. I'd read the description, like,
right.
So yeah, I think I'm very aware of myself, and I'm very self-reflective. Like if I do something with the tribe that offends someone, then I'll like look at myself and like what I did and ways that I could have done it better, and like really looking inside myself. And yeah.
So what's interesting is you answered a question that in your own way that you like, that's a blast first kind of thing, or I don't know what it is, but it's like, let me try to ask it in a different way.
Oh,
so
okay.
So like what's important to you?
What's important to me? Learning. What else? So I really like things looking nice. So like if I like my house, like I want it to look nice, or at work, like I want everything to be very clean. And also harmony, like things working out between people. I don't like conflict. Those are the three main things I'd say.
So the thing that you don't like, conflict, that's a priority? That's something that's important, that you don't like it, or that you avoid it, or?
Like if I can try to remove conflict, yeah, I guess that would be a priority. Like make things work between people, or remove myself from the situation if I have to. Yeah.
Can you tell us a time where that was applicable? I know feminine sensory, but it's still SI.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I was, I remove myself from situations when I'm so like I was riding in a car with friends, and this is a really bad story of what happened, but it's kind of interesting. My friends from college, and one of them was driving, and he foolishly like almost hit a guy, and the guy like was really scared, and then he was joking like, oh my god, his life flashed before his eyes, and then everyone's laughing, and I was just like, what the heck, like what is wrong with you people? And then he made a joke like, his life flashed before his eyes, he probably remembered the time he was raping his daughter, and they were all laughing, ha ha ha. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with you guys? I'm thinking in my head. And then like they're driving and it's just like weighing on me. And then I'm like, stop the car. And then they're like, what? And I just told them to stop the car. And I'm like, I'm walking home. And then I just got out of the car. I didn't even tell them what was going on, but I just couldn't be in that situation. I just got out of the car and I walked all the way home. And they were my roommates too. So that was kind of awkward when they got there before me. And I get home and like, no, we never talked about it, or like no apologies or explanations. It's just, I think maybe I might have said like, I don't think that was okay about what you said, but it wasn't like a long conversation. It was just, it ended there. And like everyone was very quiet and no one laughed at that point, which is good because I would have probably flipped out. So I don't know, that my demon, whatever demon was happening, that was my FI demon, I guess.
Yeah, masculine too. You weren't moving on it.
No.
Yeah. Right.
So.
But like so you weren't trying to say it was objectively wrong or anything like that. Like you weren't doing the FE of like, you guys shouldn't talk like this, or, this is, you were saying, I don't want to be in a situation like this again more.
Yeah. I was more like, I think that is wrong. Like, I don't know.
And you can't be involved in this.
They think or feel like I thought it was wrong. And I know they think differently. And there's just, I didn't try to like convince them they were wrong. No.
Right.
But maybe they might have saw they were wrong. I don't know. Maybe not.
So like, are you careful with who you associate with now that a few of those kind of incidents might have happened? Like you want to be associated with people who line up with your values?
I try to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to not stay in my bubble though and meet a variety of people, but it's always nice to be with people that you could be on the same wavelength at least. I think it just fizzles out naturally if you're not like, but like I can be really stubborn because it happened again with my one friend. We were walking home and we saw a rabbit, and then he made a joke that he wanted to like capture the rabbit and kill it, and like that didn't sit well with me, and like I just stopped talking to him for like 3 months.
Oh wow. All right.
Yeah.
Did you know why?
Do I know why? What?
No. Did he know why you stopped talking with him?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You never told him or anything.
Well, after he said it, I told him I thought what he was saying.
Yeah, still demon blast.
Yeah, and gross. And like why would you say that? And he wasn't just saying I'd kill it. Like he was like being like really descriptive and gross.
Right. So like, obviously he was trying to be funny. He had a different kind of sense of humor that wasn't jiving with you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't find everything funny.
Right. Yeah. Does it take, like, can everybody get to know the real you, or do you have a select few people that you really show who you are to, that you feel comfortable with, or does that question not even make sense to you?
No, it's a good question. Surprisingly, I show a lot of people the real me. The only way I would not is if there's just something about them that I don't trust.
Okay.
Like very angry people or very negative people, people who gossip a lot, those type of people, I won't open myself up. But obviously, because there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to. But most people, I tend to trust most people that I meet, even if I just met them, based on the vibe between them. Like if they're friendly, then I trust them, and I will open up to them. Maybe I won't tell my whole life story, that, right, of course, but if it kind of came up and I felt comfortable, I might share it with someone I just met. It depends.
Right. Do you get that like just your FI is in line with certain people, like your values are just jiving with certain people? Is that something that happens?
Yeah, because I feel like if it doesn't, then I'll get really angry, and I don't know, it just doesn't work out. Like,
Right.
if I think what they're doing is wrong, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. What about like is that the kind of tidal wave that you usually get? It's like it's that your FI just can't put up with the way a person's behaving or what they're doing, what they're saying.
It can be. There's that tidal wave, and also when people tell me what I'm doing is wrong, that could be a big tidal wave too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Queen's Gambit noticed that he's seeing a lot of introverted perception, but like it's because I'm asking you for a lot of examples. I think, like I'm asking you for the SI because I see that like that's the void in our conversation, like even subconsciously, and I'm like, I'm sure you get that all the time. Give me an example. Give me an example, and it's probably pretty annoying.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because usually when I am having a conversation with friends, it's like, oh, did you hear about this thing? And then it's like, oh, and then that would lead to something else, and I guess that's like play, like OE, like
Right.
Oh, that reminds me of this, and then just that kind of thing is usually what I do.
Yeah. So I'm sort of forcing you to be out of your element during this conversation a little bit.
Yeah, but like, isn't that the whole point of an interview, right? Like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not bothering me if that's what you're asking. No.
Okay. He's clarifying that SI is below the JE. So he is seeing that your TE is higher than your SI. Or at least, yeah.
I don't understand. What? JE?
JE is extroverted judging, like DE.
Oh.
Right.
Cool. I learned
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah.
Cool. In what class? Or is that just a made up
It's
thing?
not OP. It's not OP. It's like traditional Jungian typology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I'd love to learn more.
So that's interesting because like I've never seen anyone so fascinated by a term or something like that. Like, so can you tell me about why a term is fascinating or a way to write a different way to say something?
I don't know. I love language, and I don't know. I just love stuff like that. I love philosophy. I love psychology. I love sociology, anthropology. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything like that.
Let's talk about your NE a little bit. Like, because we just saw it light up there. It's like, oh, I learned something new. So like, so is that really what you're? Because you're even double activated on that as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you would be really open to have an objective, like objective information. You're really interested in the objective information. You don't really like too much subjectivity in the information you're gathering. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure if I do that or not. I never thought of that.
Yeah. But like it just lights up when you're like, just right now you lit up that you learned something new. So like, when does that happen? How does that happen?
Oh yeah, I love to learn. Like I said, it's one of my priorities. One of my values.
Okay. Right.
So if I could learn at least 3 new things a day, that satisfies me. I feel like everyone should do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess it's just a cool concept that it could be JE instead of DE. And I would want to do research and figure out more about that and other terms and what they mean and how they differ from OP. So
right. Yeah, OP kind of had to invent its own language so as not to. It's good and bad, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah, because no one outside of it understands what the heck it is.
Right. And then at the same time, it gives them the freedom to sort of just redefine their terms as well, I guess.
Yes. Based on what they know and the people in their lives and all the celebrities they typed.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me like about the process of learning? What does any do when you're learning? Like, what are these flashes of insights that sort of come and show connections? And I don't know, I've heard it described as like puzzle pieces falling together, or
that's
like
a cool
things
way.
or like things another point starting to connect to all. It's as if like you're describing, not you, but like other NE people are describing like neurons, how like neurons finally find a connection with another system of neurons that are all I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could see that. The analogy I use is a web.
Yeah.
And I think of it not just as connecting ideas. I think it's more like everything's connected, like the whole universe is connected. This is kind of the NF woo-woo.
No, go for it. Yeah.
But basically, like, so there's this web of, and it's an abstract web, obviously, for the sensors out there. And it's like every aspect of the universe is connected on this web. So every person is connected, every action is connected, every idea is connected in some way, shape, or form. And so like something I do will affect someone else, and it's a ripple effect. So that would affect someone else. And so that's why we have to be really careful of our actions, because like if we're mean to someone, like that could ripple out to 9 different people that we don't even intend to. And so, yeah, it's like really cool. And I just like see how everything is connected, and with different situations that happen, and the things that have led up to that, and the possibilities of what could come from that. And I kind of like to puzzle ideas of like what would have happened if something else happened, like what would have happened if JFK was not assassinated. And like my mind likes exploring those ideas in a very imaginative state. And I don't do that all the time, but when I do that, it's like really fun.
So before I continue on this, I just wanted to say that like that's very double observing of SINE is what I saw. Because you're like, when you were describing this, you were talking about the SI, like the series of events. This happens, then this happens, then this happens, the ripple effect, the cause and effect sort of thing. And then also, well, the tangents that can come out of it at the same time. So it's like a cross between the two, and you were describing it way better than I could reiterate here. Yeah.
Thanks, Benjamin. I hope it made sense.
Yeah. But anyways, so that description of, everything is connected and all that, does that come up often when you're learning something new? Like, how does the new thing fit into that web?
So when I'm learning something new, it's very hard to learn it unless I can connect it to something that I already know. So for example, if I'm learning about a new drug, and I've never heard of this drug before, and I've never heard of any drug like it, it would be very difficult for me to like memorize all of the aspects of it. But if I could relate it to another drug or relate it to the physiology, like, well, I know how the liver works and it affects the liver in this way. And I know like about cholesterol and how like the different proteins like carry the cholesterol, and so if I could connect it to this huge thing, and then that little SI data makes sense. Because otherwise, if I'm just like memorizing facts, like this drug does this, right, and this, and this, and here are the side effects, I'm not going to memorize that. But if I know, okay, well, it affects the gut, so this is why I know it causes GI side effects, or I know it crosses the brain barrier where certain drugs can't go to your brain, but if it can cross that, then I know it can cause these neurological effects. So if I know the mechanisms and how it functions with the body, and then it's like really easy to remember, and then it's in there. But I have to learn 10 times the amount of information for it to sink in, basically.
Right. And in terms of information, when you're saying 10 times the amount of information, it's not details, it's connections.
Yeah, it's different random sensory that I connect to, like connect it all together that I can remember it, basically.
So like, I don't know how accurate it is, but I got an analogy basically like, okay, so you've got this new component in a circuit sort of thing, and you got to connect this part to that part of the circuit, and then this part, and then it'll only work once all of the nodes are properly connected.
Yeah.
Is that
sure?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I could kind of force it by making like up mnemonics. So
Right.
then it's easy for me to remember. So like there's a drug called amantadine, which is spelled A man T I dine. So and it's for Parkinson's. So like where their hand shakes, and so I just picture a man dining, and then he's like trying to eat soup and his hand's shaking and he's having trouble. So then he would want amantadine. I don't know. And that makes sense in my head. And then I try to explain
Right.
to people and they're like, what the heck? Like, isn't it just easier to memorize amantadine is for Parkinson's?
It's
But like
interesting.
to me, I wouldn't be able to remember that unless I created the story.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to remember. Well, it's also like, I guess, feminine sensory, right? So
Yes.
you need to fit it into the intuition to keep it, and that's a really creative way to do that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I wrote a nursing textbook, it wouldn't make any sense to anyone whatsoever because it's like talking about drugs and like weird stories about like the Phantom of the Opera and he comes down on a chandelier and this is how you remember this drug.
Right. But yeah, that's interesting. So like you're using the sensory image, like this visual sensory image to remember a word.
Yeah, I
And
created
what
an image.
and the use of the word at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so random and abstract. There's another one, gemfibrozil, which is to lower your triglycerides. And I played Zelda, and in Zelda, the character has to get gems, and he also has to get the Triforce. So I link gemfibrozil lowers triglycerides.
That's like, that must be really exhausting though, to learn new words and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And like what they mean, and yeah.
yeah. Pharmacology was the hardest class, and it was
But in the
so
end, you remember
hard.
this stuff way better than anyone else.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. That was really good.
Sure.
So you've been typed as sleep last. So have you been able to see your sleep a little bit? Is it at the end of the day when you're all tired that you're able to go there meditating?
I'm trying. I think I
Yeah,
tried once to like lay in bed and sleep process.
right.
And I was really proud of myself. I need to do it again.
What does it look like with the SI and the FI together? Is it like going over your experiences,
Yeah,
sorting out how you felt about each experience and how your
exactly.
feelings were going up? Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's exactly how I look at it. So my past experiences and how I felt about it, and then using that to guide me of what I should do. So
Mhm.
it would be very hard if I've never experienced it before. So it would be very hard for me to decide on something I haven't. It's not in my SI, I feel like.
Right. And so like by going over that kind of stuff that happened in the past, you can maybe make better decisions in the future by knowing how you feel about certain experiences.
Yeah, and also to do so more efficiently, because if you're just
Right.
trying random things, you're spending a lot of time. But if you can narrow in on what I like based on these experiences, then you're wasting less time because you're not all over the
Mhm.
place. You're not doing 10 different things to see which one you should do.
Right. And does it maybe help you focus on what you want to get more of as well? Like
Yeah,
experience more of?
for
Yeah.
sure. But then my NE just takes me 100 different places. And so like I'm like, okay, this is it. And I'm like, okay. And then 10 days later, it's like, but what about these 5 things?
Right. So like you've never narrowed down on what that one experience, because it could have little modifiers, I guess, that could adjust it and make it better or worse.
Yeah, as soon as I narrow it down, then I come up with 10 other ideas. And then I want to explore that. It's like, well, that would be interesting. What would I need to do that? And then and doing all this research. And then sometimes it'd be like, well, that would be very difficult. Like, like I was thinking of like moving to Iceland. Like, oh, what would I need to do to like move to Iceland and then become a nurse? And then I had to learn Icelandic, and like,
Yeah.
and then I was just thinking like, maybe that would be too hard.
So like, just saying that out of the blue, the way you did it, it sounds so random. I was thinking about moving to Iceland, but did something trigger that? Was there a reason why you thought about it?
So yeah, actually, yes.
So then, yeah, there's the context.
I was watching the show. Oh, okay. So spoilers. Turn this off if you don't want spoilers on the show Vikings.
Right.
So in the show Vikings, one of the characters, he's on a boat and he randomly lands on an island, and it's this beautiful paradise, and it's got waterfalls and like cool like spring hot springs, and it's like God's land. And they really romanticize it, and then and then it has like the Viking roots, and then he goes back to his homeland and he brings people to create like this utopia.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. It's like it's got this cool history. Like this country was discovered by Vikings, and
by the way, it's like a spoiler if you're ever gonna learn history too, because like it's historically accurate that the Floki guy actually did discover Iceland. So
Floki is real and discovered Iceland?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so even cooler.
or Greenland or something like that. Yeah, something like that. We can look it up after. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Iceland. Maybe it was Greenland.
So you're not actually, So it's not actually that big a spoiler, I guess.
I think, did they call it Greenland? Oh my God.
What happened I can tell you about the series. What happened in the series is he discovered Iceland, and then he brings, I don't know, have you seen it already?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So then he brings everybody else back to Iceland, but he goes to Greenland instead. And that's why they have so much hardships.
Okay, so this is the later part. I haven't caught up with that. But I did understand that they were trying to find Greenland because there's like a weird story that the guy, he saw Greenland. And then he had to come back because the gods didn't want him there or something. I don't know.
So then you just, from that, you're just like, what if I went to live there? Just based on Vikings and not learning what Iceland is, what the language is, what the people are like. None of that.
None of the sensory. Just this imaginative, like, cool idea.
Right. Okay. Would you ever go visit to actually get an idea before you decide to move there, or?
I decided not to move there, but I would love to visit. Yes, for sure. And that would be really cool. And I would love to go in the summer and the winter just to get both.
Right. So I'm going to go back in the comments here. When they were talking about the NE Spark, I guess Queen's Gambit has some other people that say something similar to NE, where they often say you can inspire people by I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I can guarantee that I'll spark the brain that will change the world.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Huh. I never thought of that.
But like that's kind of what you were saying, like ripple effects. That like, okay, I might not cause this bunny rabbit to not be murdered, but I'll inspire him. I don't know. Trying to NE with you.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Nice.
Okay. And Power Red Bull says that you understand how one thing is relative to the other. Things can not float on their own. Like there's no idea on its own. It's all connected to something else.
Sure. Yeah. Like when I was talking about learning, that it's easier for me to learn if it's connected to something that I already know. And I also see how everything's connected naturally.
Right.
So, can I tell a story?
Of course. Yeah. It's your interview, man.
So for 5 years, I worked for a nonprofit. It's a car sharing organization. And unfortunately, we lost our auto insurance that covered our vehicles. So car sharing, if people aren't familiar, just to give some context, is they're neighborhood cars that people that don't have access to a vehicle, they could use them, and they pay by the hour. So it's like, like say it was like $10 an hour, and you could use it to do whatever you wanted in your car legally. And you just return it, and you don't have to worry about insurance. You don't have to worry about gas. You don't have to worry about maintenance. or parking tickets, unless you're like driving and illegally parked. But like, it's really nice. And it's really nice for people that don't want to deal with like the SI sensory of all that like maintenance stuff and oil changes and, you know, tire rotations, which I don't mind actually. I kind of like that stuff. But so we lost our insurance, so we had to close up shop, which was really sad. And I also lost my health benefits, which that screwed me over. And because in America, your health insurance is tied to your work. So if you lose your job, unless you want to pay Cobra, which is so expensive, it's like $300 a month or something for health insurance, you're kind of screwed. And so anyway, it was really sad, but it ended up working out. The last day I worked, I went into this cafe, and they were like, the waitress was like scrambling, and I'm like, "Are you guys hiring?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then I had a job interview there, and then like that day, and then I was hired to work that following Monday. So it all worked out. But they didn't offer health insurance, but I don't think most of those places do anyway. But anyway, that weekend, our office, and it was so much work. We had to like clear our office, and we had to like sell the vehicles. It was like this huge stressful event. And it was like really sad, and we were trying so hard to like try to get insurance, but it didn't work. But that weekend after we closed, so we closed on a Friday, that weekend, the ceiling collapsed, cinder blocks fell, and because a pipe burst, and the entire office was flooded and everything was destroyed inside. And then a couple days later, the ceiling collapsed, which like cinder blocks fell, and like it was just a complete disaster. And it was just so weird that happened. And if and like my any brain was like, what would have happened if we were still working there and all the stuff was inside? I know what I would do. I would have probably went in there and tried to salvage whatever office stuff that we could. And then that ceiling could have collapsed when I was in there. And then I was like wondering, like, maybe like us, the company going out of business, like protected us in some way, to prevent anyone from being injured or something like that.
Yeah. So, okay, I got the story, and I got kind of the context. How does the context connect to the story? That everything is connected? That, like, what was the point? Yeah.
So, like, basically, everything happens for a reason. So you would think this is a shitty situation. I lost my job. All these people don't have access to a vehicle. All these terrible things have happened based on this. And yet, some good things could come about from it. And one of the good things that happened was that no one got hurt from the office collapsing, because no one was in the office because we were closed. Like no one was there anymore, you know?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I think about this too a lot because, okay, so we notice these kind of quote unquote miracles that sort of save us, right? A lot. Like we'll notice them. But then like it's what I think about sometimes is like all of the ones that we don't notice, all of the ones that are happening constantly.
Sure.
That we have absolutely no idea it ever happened.
Wow, I don't even think about that, but that's a really cool idea. I'm gonna have to start with the miracles I don't notice.
Right, that nobody notices. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I also believe that when we're there, that the universe gives us signs, and people might think I'm talking symbolically, but I actually think actual signs can give us signs. Like words on a sign, that like sometimes like there's like a motivational sign or just a random art mural, like that has words on it. And like, I feel like signs could actually be real signs that are trying to guide us, and we could choose to ignore the signs. And when we do that, that's when our life messes up, when we're ignoring the signs.
That's interesting. So would you ever base a big decision? Well, I guess you did. It's that Chinese fortune telling thing, or what Japanese? I don't know the thing you were talking about.
Yeah, Chinese fortune telling.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's the same kind of idea, I guess. But like, would you ever base a major life decision on a street sign that you saw on the way to that decision?
Possibly if it
Yeah.
felt strong enough. Like, yeah, if it moved me enough to, and I believed in it enough, then I would. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
But like, it's not the sign that would do it. The sign would just trigger it in you. Like you would agree with the sign.
No, the sign might be telling you something you don't want to do. Like it could be like the sign could be telling you to work on your demons, and like you're like, no, I don't want to do that, and then your life messes up.
Right.
So that's what I mean.
What if it tells you to work on your saviors, and then you keep doing that, and your life messes up?
I don't know if it would do that.
Oh, it wouldn't do, that's not how it works. Okay. All right.
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like the universe is giving you the signs, and it's for a good reason. Yeah.
So what's interesting is like this is the kind of thing that Darren Brown does to manipulate people. Like he will plan out all of the signs that you see on the way to being manipulated, and then all of those are in your subconscious. So like when he asks you
side to it.
And so when he asks you to draw a picture, then he already knows what you're going to draw because he programmed you on the way there.
Oh, I watched this Darren Brown. Is that his name? Darren Brown?
Yeah.
I watched this video, and in the beginning, he's like, all right, I need you to think of a triangle. Okay. And now think of that triangle being a color. And now think of a circle inside that triangle. And what color is the circle? And I want to bet that, and like I pictured it, and it was like a green triangle with a red circle. And then he's like, I want to bet you thought of a green triangle with a red circle. And I'm like, what? Right. I'm like, how is that possible? And then like I read the comments, and they're like, that guy's a joke. I thought of a blue triangle with an orange circle. So I don't know how they got away with that, but like for whatever reason, I was manipulated.
So,
and it wasn't even a triangle. He's like, I want you to think of a shape. I want you to think of, and he's probably like, I want you to think of a shape. And now I want you to think of a shape inside that shape. And like, but like, you don't notice what he's doing. I was like, okay, I'll think of a triangle.
So it's all about the prep work, right? So like on the way before he asked those questions, he was exposing you to that image all day long in different contexts, and you wouldn't have noticed them and stopped and look at them on your busy day. But when you're there, it's what naturally pops into your head. Yeah. But like, I saw some documentaries on him too, and he is, a lot of the stuff he does is real, and then a lot of the stuff is just completely done with actors, and the person he's manipulating is an actor and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's so sad because I want to believe it's all real.
Yeah. Anyways, cool, man. Is there something you want to promote or something about your type maybe you want to share with everybody, or a final message?
I don't know. If you're really bored, you could go to my YouTube channel,
awesome.
And then you can watch my Let's Plays. Okay.
Cool. Give me the link. We'll put it in the description.
Yeah. So that's about it. Be good to one another. Yeah. Just do good in the world. Learn every day and work on yourself.
Yeah. And no killing rabbits.
Yeah. I guess some people like to hunt. It's not for me.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, nice to have you on. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah. Yep.